Purushottami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, thank you very much for joining. We wanted to seek the blessing of Radha Madhava, Radha Shamsundar, Krishna, Balaram, Bal Gopal, the Singh Devagan, Guru Nitai, Tulsi Maharani, the Singh Devagan, yeah, Tulsi Maharani, Ki Jai, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj in the assembly devotees. So, continuing on, Mathura pastimes of Sri Krishna, chapter 44. The killing of Kamsa. So this was one of the reasons why the Lord appeared, to remove the burden on the earth. And the biggest burden at that time was Kamsa, because he had imprisoned his own father, Ugrasen. He also had imprisoned the mother and father of Vasudeva. That's Vasudeva and Devaki. So he was a big thorn in the side of Maya, Adharma. This chapter tells how Krishna and Balaram killed the wrestlers, how Krishna killed Kamsa and consoled Kamsa's wives, and how the two lords were reunited with their mother and father. Krishna and Balaram each fought with their respective opponents hand to hand, leg to leg, chest to chest. They were dragging, shoving, crushing, throwing each other down, forcefully lifting and carrying each other, pushing each other away, holding each other down. The fighters hurt even their own bodies in their great eagerness for victory. It must have been an amazing fight. All the women present considering the match and considered the match an unfair fight between the strong, that's the two professional wrestlers, and the weak, so-called weak, of course. They're not weak because they're the supreme personalities of Godhead. Two young, immature boys. Felt extreme anxiety due to compassion. They assembled in groups around the arena and spoke to one another about what a greatly irreligious act the king was committing. However, they appreciated the beauty of Krishna and Balaram's faces as they perspired in the fight. Just see the lotus face of Krishna as he darts around his foe. That face covered with drops of perspiration brought on by the strenuous fight resembles a lotus covered with dew. What austerities must the gopis have performed? These are the Braj gopis. With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's form. With their minds fully attached to Krishna and their throats always choked up with tears, they constantly sing about him while milking the cows, winnowing grain, churning butter, gathering cow dung for fuel, riding on swings, taking care of their crying babies, sprinkling the ground with water, cleaning their houses, and so on. When the gopis hear Krishna playing his flute as he leaves Vraj in the morning with his cows or returns with them at sunset, the young girls quickly come out of their houses to see him. They must have performed many pious activities to be able to see him as he walks on the road, his smiling face mercifully glancing upon them. This is not as a result of pious activities. This is as a result of pure bhakti that they have had this opportunity. They are great, great devotees of the Lord. And the proof is they have been able to witness some of the most incredible pastimes of Brajalila with Krishna. As the women spoke, Krishna and Balaram's parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, became overwhelmed with sorrow when they heard the women's fearful statements. Then Lord Krishna made up his mind to kill his opponent. Lord Balaram and Mustik expertly displaying numerous wrestling techniques, battled each other in the same way that Krishna and his opponent, Charuna, Chanaru, uh, did. Krishna grabbed Chanura, by his arms, swung him around several times, and hurled him into the ground with great force. His clothes, hair, and garlands scattering, the wrestler fell down dead. Similarly, Mushtik received a violent blow from the mighty lord's palm. The demon trembled all over in great pain, vomiting blood, and then fell lifeless onto the ground. This Chanura and Mushtik are very fortunate because they were able to um, have one association, darshan of the Lord. Second, they were able to touch the Lord's body and be touched by the Lord's fearsome body, slaps. Confronted next by the wrestler Kuta, Lord Balaram, the best of fighters, playfully and nonchalantly killed him with his left fist. Then Krishna kicked in Sala's head and tore Toshala in half, and both wrestlers fell down dead. The remaining wrestlers all fled for their lives. Krishna and Balaram then called their young cowherd boyfriends to join them, and in their company the Lord danced about and sported, their ankle bells resounding as musical instruments played. The exalted Brahmins and great saints exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent." Everyone was happy at the victory except Kamsa, of course. He ordered the arrest of Nanda as well as the death of Vasudeva and Ugrasen. Krishna then jumped up onto the raw dais, and although Kamsa instantly rose from his seat and took up his sword and shield, Krishna grabbed him by the hair, threw him down on the wrestling mat, and struck him repeatedly until he died. He then dragged him along the ground. Because Kamsa had always been disturbed by the thought that the Supreme Lord was to kill him, therefore, while drinking, eating, moving about, sleeping, or simply breathing, the king had always seen the Lord before him with a disc weapon in his hand. Thus Kamsa achieved the rare boon of attaining a form like the Lord's. So he attained the spiritual world, and he got a form like that of a Lord. Kamsa's 8 younger brothers, led by Kanka, then attacked the lordships in a rage, seeking to avenge their brother's death, but Balaram slew them with his club. Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods rained flowers upon Krishna with pleasure, chanting his praises. This is Krishna doing in Kamsa. Even he was 11 years, 6 months, and 6 days. The wives of Kamsa and his brothers, aggrieved by the death of their well-wishing husbands, came forward with tearful eyes, beating their heads to embrace their dead husbands, and lamented loudly. Due to the terrible violence committed against innocent creatures, how can one who harms others attain happiness? They realized that Kamsa and his brothers were punished. Krishna causes the appearance and disappearance of all beings in this world. He is their maintainer as well. One who always disrespects him can never prosper happily. So if one is cruel, that cruelty will come back. May not come back immediately, but it will come back at some point. Just a question of time. After consoling the royal ladies, Lord Krishna, sustainer of all the worlds, arranged for the prescribed funeral rites to be performed. Then Krishna and Balaram released their mother and father from the bondage and offered obeisances to them, touching their feet with their heads. Devaki and Vasudev, now knowing Krishna and Balaram to be the lords of the universe, simply stood with folded palms. Being apprehensive, they did not embrace their sons. So this is Krishna and Balaram freeing Vasudeva and Devaki and, of course, Ugrasen. Chapter 45. Krishna rescues his teacher's son. So this is where he goes to Sandipani Muni's ashram in Ujjain. This chapter describes how Lord Krishna consoled Devaki, Vasudeva, and Nand Maharaj and installed Ugrasen as king, and how they completed their education, retrieved the dead son of their guru, and returned home. So, understanding that his parents were becoming aware of his transcendental opulence, Krishna expanded his yoga maya, which bewilders his devotees and approaches his parents. And then Krishna approaches his parents with his elder brother. So Krishna doesn't like to be treated as God. He wants to be treated as their lovable son. Humbly bowing his head, gratifying them by respectfully addressing them as my dear mother, my dear father. He said that they always remained in anxiety due to Krishna and Balaram. So Vasudeva, they were always in anxiety, Devaki, and could never enjoy their childhood, boyhood, or youth. It is one's parents who gives the body birth and sustenance. No one can repay his debt to his parents, even if he serves them for a full lifetime of 100 years. So the obligation of the children is so huge. 100 years, full-time service, not enough. One who fails to provide for his parents with his physical resources and wealth is forced after his death to eat his own flesh and is considered dead, although breathing. These are heavy statements. It shows that parents are to be respected, honored, looked after. Otherwise, the consequences are horrible. Krishna asked for forgiveness from his parents. He asked for forgiveness because they were the cause of the parents being in prison. He was the cause. The parents would do anything for their children. Vasudeva Devaki would do anything, even stay in prison for them. No problem. Krishna's parents then joyfully picked him up and embraced him. They were overwhelmed and their throats choked up with tears. Krishna next installed his maternal grandfather, Ugrasen, as the king of the Yadus. This pastime is very interesting. Krishna's behaving like a child, an ordinary child. I'm so sorry, my dear mother and father. I was the cause of your imprisonment, and I did not come to free you until now. Please forgive me. This is just incredible. The Lord is so, such a reciprocation is very difficult to understand. Krishna requested Ugrasen to command him, and he would be his personal attendant. The Lord then brought all his close family members and other relatives back from the various places to which they had fled in fear of Kamsa. So everybody had gone, pretty much. Kamsa was so horrible. Ugrasen and Vasudeva were imprisoned, and Akrur stayed. But everybody else disappeared. But Krishna brought them back and resettled them in their homes. The members of the clans, protected by the arms of Lord Krishna and Lord Shankarshan, that's Balaram, felt that all their desires were fulfilled. Thus they enjoyed perfect happiness while living at home with their families. Even the most elderly inhabitants of the city appeared youthful, full of strength, vitality, for with their eyes they constantly drank the auxiliary of Lord Mukund's lotus feet. Krishna then praised Nand for his affectionately maintaining him in his childhood. Krishna requested him to return to Braj and promised to go back to see him once he had given some happiness to his friends. Nand was overwhelmed. He tearfully embraced Krishna and Balaram before going back to Braj. Of course, when he got to Braj, he got a really hard time from Yashoda Mai. Where is Krishna? Why didn't you bring him back? Oh, he's promised to come. He had a hard time. Then Vasudev, the son of Surasen, arranged for his two sons' second birth initiation. This is the Brahman initiation from the Guru. Become twice born. Of course, the Lord does not need initiation. But as an example to all of us, he takes an initiation. He takes a Guru. Vasudev honored the Brahmins by worshipping them and gave them fine cows with their calves, which Vasudev mentally recovered after Kamsa had stolen them. This is the power of Manasi Seva. Vasudeva was very powerful in doing this seva. He did it in the prison because he physically couldn't do it. But through the mind, he offered so many things to the Lords. The Lord took the further vow of celibacy from Garga Muni. The Lords took the further vow of celibacy from Garga Muni, Guru of the Yadus. So Garga Muni gave them the Brahman thread, second initiation. Next, the Lords desired to reside at the school of a spiritual master and approached Sandipani Muni. Actually, it was Vasudev who suggested, you have not gone through any formal education and you should go to Gurukul. So they approached Sandipani Muni, a native of Kashi living in the city of Avanti, that's Ujjain, to study at Muni's Gurukul of Sandipani Muni. They devotedly serve their Guru and are an example of how to worship the spiritual master. Sandipani Muni taught them the entire Vedas together with the 6 corollaries, the Upanishads, the Nurved, standard books of law, Manu Samhita, for example, the methods of logical reasoning and philosophical debate, and the 6-fold science of politics. Krishna and Balaram could immediately assimilate each and every subject after hearing it explained just once. Thus, with fixed concentration, they learnt the 64 arts and skills in 64 days and nights. Then they satisfied their spiritual master by offering him Guru Dakshina. This is Sandipani Muni. Krishna and Balaram, of course, they know everything. They are the source of all knowledge, material and spiritual. They don't need to go to Gurukul. But to honor this wonderful personality, Sandipani Muni, they studied under him and learnt everything. After consulting with his wife, he chose as his remuneration the return of their young son who had died in the ocean at Prabhash. Krishna and Balaram went to the ocean god, Varun, who informed them that the boy had been swallowed by a demon in the form of a conch shell named Panchajana. Hearing this, Lord Krishna entered the ocean, found Panchajana and killed him. But the Lord did not find the boy within the demon's belly. They went to the abode of Yamraj. When Yamraj heard Krishna's conch shell, he quickly went to Krishna and offered his service. O Supreme Lord Vishnu, what shall I do for you and Lord Balaram, who are playing the part of ordinary humans. So this is Yamraj. Krishna ordered the release of the Guru's son, who had been brought to Yamraj to suffer the bondage of his past activities. Yamraj gladly brought the boy to Krishna. After they brought back the Guru's son to him, Krishna and Balaram asked their Guru what else they could do for him. The Guru was pleased and said, "They have completely fulfilled the disciples' obligation to reward the spiritual master. And indeed, with disciples like them, what further desires could a Guru have?" Sandipani Muni was pleased and gave them benedictions that the Vedas would remain ever fresh in their minds, and their fame sanctify the world rather. Thereafter, receiving their Guru's permission to leave, the two lords returned to Mathura on their chariot, which moved as swiftly as the wind and resounded like a cloud. All the citizens rejoiced upon seeing Krishna and Balaram, who they had not seen for many days. The people felt just like those who had lost their wealth, then regained it. So, this is...
Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
yes.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you back. You are
Thank you.
better now.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, they took the spiritual knowledge from the Rishi Muni. Did they do this knowledge in the Vraj, or they
No,
did it in
Ujjain.
Mathura?
Avanti, Ujjain.
Avanti, Ujjain.
Ujjain. Ujjain is in Maharashtra, I think.
What,
Was it Madhya Pradesh?
was this
Madhya
given
Pradesh.
when they were traveling to Mathura?
No,
Or
they
before?
lived in the Gurukul in Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh.
They lived there and
With Sandipani Muni.
okay, and
64 days.
was this told by Vasudev?
Yeah, Vasudev actually, he said to Krishna and Balaram that you should go to Gurukul and learn because you haven't had any formal education. You've been playing in Braj. Now learn.
So before going to Mathura, they went to the...
No, after Mathura, after the kill comes, they went...
After they killed the Kans. Okay.
After the kill comes, they went to Ujjain and then they came back to Mathura.
Then they came back to Mathura. All right. All right. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for... Any more questions at all? Okay, we can stop there. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki jai.